glitters in flames, brill, as the gold the Ghanaians traded for salt from the Arabs. Sweet the sweat of elephant, the sky a hasty scramble of blue and white. Night a cashmere cape of trills, bleats, chirps, creaks, thrums, rattles, buzzes, cries. Symphony of the sub-Saharan savanna. You will not be lonely again. The sea, an aquamarine spittle, licks the edges of the village market. Platters of copper fish flash like jewelry in the sun. The watermelon woman, in a printed frock of pink and green, wears a tray of pink and green wedges on her head. It is the Muslim holiday, and the men spit roast for goat in the street. Flames caress the carcass. Said the Lord, you are to sacrifice your son for me. Was it you, the 3 hang-up calls that rang to my room? Are you to give up your son for me? You are nestled in the hotel bar with a book and a big yellow beard, a big man with round ears. You are eager to tell me of Rwanda at the turn of the century, how you drank with the South African fighter pilots on their day off in a dive on the Congo-Uganda border, how they threw down their AK-47s on the bar to share a pint. The walls of my hotel room were full of bullet holes, you cried. I told you what the newspapers said that day. Gospel singers were urged not to use voodoo to make their songs famous. Muslim youth were falling into opiates. In the north, infants possessed with evil spirits were thrown into the river or poisoned by witch doctors, concoction men. It was an old African tradition. You did not live in Rwanda. It was only your work for the week. You told the prostitutes you would not sleep with them. You had a family in Manchester. Why did I tell you twice that I was in room 760? You replied you were in room 607. The numbers, we laughed. The northern savannah is nowhere. The horizon a flat green paint stripe. 4,000 miles of cedar and mahogany, antelope and baboon. I was drowning in the scent of wild mint. The sky snapped a necklace of silver beads. Lightning, then rain whispering over the soft hiss of crickets. On the Gold Coast, slave ghosts push their ships south, cages of black sweat, groaning over centuries of ocean. The Bay of Guinea is dangerous. Last week, the swells stole 2 beauty queens. Pirates pickpocket the waters. The waves will hijack you, the way you hijacked me with your kiss the last night in the hotel. Got time for that one? Thank you. So the next up we have Nia.
And if I know it again, Melissa's over here too.
I'm sure I know. Okay, this is called It's 2019, Confidence is the New Counterculture. What do I write about if I'm not complaining about men? Yeah, I may hate my exes, but I'm seeing someone again, and maybe it's that the sex is like 10 out of 10, but I think there's a correlation between my writer's block and whether or not I'm getting any action. Loneliness is the traction I need, it seems. Single me writes better poetry. Misery loves company, but it accompanies my creativity, stymied by my propensity for getting lovesick. What can I say? I'm a fucking hopeless romantic. And if my validation needs to come from outside sources, at least that forces me to love myself, to trust myself, to shelf this nagging voice that harps on every choice and tells me I'm worthless. And at least I know this. I'm tired of self-hatred. I'm inundated in it. From the everyday bullshit I hear my friends spit, they can't admit they're beautiful without feeling delusional, but self-love is crucial. Hence my absolute refusal to participate in this sad boy rhetoric, which, for the record, is completely hegemonic. I'm done self-deprecating. I'd much rather be creating something bigger than the sum of its parts, something louder than the drum of my heartbeats being stuck in my own head. Spicy-ass thoughts filling my own head, so I'll celebrate it, because I'm complicated. But all that means is I got mad depth. I'm the Marianas Trench drenched with shipwrecks. I'm a mess. Too stressed to be blessed, but I'll carry myself like I'm best dressed on this West Coast. For the record, I don't boast. I just speak truths. I leak, I ooze. My confidence pours from my pores like I can't lose. Okay, life's not a competition, but if it was, I'd be winning it. I act like this is my world and you're all just living in it. I'm not going to try to be humble when I look in the mirror and see a 10 out of 10 again and again. Every new door I explore, everything I stand for, everything I speak for reminds me of who I was before and how proud little me would be to see the badass motherfucker I'd grown up to be. You see, I'm not proud that it took someone else to look at me and help me realize with my own eyes what I really deserve. And now that I know it, I'll take it, reserve it, remake it, preserve it for when the walls of my world shake with my heartbreak earthquake. Maybe then I'll write better, with my pen and his sweater, but I'll weather the storm and I'll refuse to conform to the dominant sadness that plagues this art form. I'll feel my feelings, good or bad, with my whole heart, and I'll turn around and turn those feelings into my own art. Taciturn is something I'm not. And maybe most days I don't feel hot. In fact, I hate myself a whole lot. But these thoughts won't have power over me if I refuse to let them take hold of me. Then again, check back in with me when he breaks up with me. But I know that through the bullshit and the strife, the people in your life love you for a reason. So maybe ease in and take a sec to inspect these cards you've been dealt, and for Christ's sake, stop talking shit about yourself. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. So I'm going to do a quick piece, and then we're going to make space for our featured poet tonight. So this piece is entitled Black While Walking, and it's dedicated to Nia Wilson. The road's so dark, you can barely see them. Hands up in surrender, silhouette hugged tight to the concrete. So you can't separate skin from sidewalk. It's ironic though, because dead men don't walk. Which begs the question, who gets to walk alone at night? We already know black hands are a crime of possession, but possession becomes prize, becomes prey. When they see hips before hands, these curves too fine to be called a four-way stop. And we all know no stop ain't in their vocabulary. Nobody comes running to save black girls. We just love to carry the world's problems and pick up our own selves after. I'm fine on my own, but maybe I don't want to be so alone. So my hands stay wrapped around the sharp edge of my keys, because what's the value in locked doors when there's nobody home to open them? Home is but a feeling, and somebody's home away from home is now a chalk outline on the corner of liberty and justice, because this is America, land of the free. Thank you. And so now it is my pleasure to introduce Nan, who's our featured poet this evening. Nan is a poet and singer-songwriter from Chicago, Illinois. Her writing is a worthy dive, giving us an introspective narrative of the Black woman experience. Her words carry memories of a life still living and are survived by what makes us most vulnerable, the will to be honest with ourselves. She currently resides in Oakland, California, and facilitates a monthly writing workshop at the Oakland LGBTQ Center. So welcome Nia to the mic.
How y'all doing? Ain't it a beautiful Thursday? Yeah. Man, I scheduled a day off for this, so not for a little bit of stuff, to be honest, but I'm just happy that all worked out. So I'm happy to see you guys. My name is Nia, and I'm a poet, and I write about real things, specifically experiences in this body, many intersections in this body. You know, woman, female, black, queer. Spiritual, if you want to call it. I want to share something new with you guys that will be going into a chapbook of mine. And just to give you guys a heads up, it's about women's body processes. You know, the full moon, blood moon, that is. I am learning at the age of 32 how to be comfortable with my body. And I am looking back in retrospect and seeing how I've been conditioned to not be comfortable with my body, to actually be ashamed of it and the processes that it do so naturally that sustains me, and also worldwide life, right? So this one is called Bleed Proud, Bleed Love. I am not ashamed of my own blood, the way it spots the white fitted sheet, or hangs on the back of my house shoe. I cannot hold my body in contempt, scold her for loving me most. Why? Simply because men do not know how to hold me. My ex-boyfriend told me that women and girls must wash every day because they are, in his words, naturally dirtier than boys and men because we bleed. I tell him the bleeding is a cleansing cycle that grants the possibility of life, not the riddance of it. Men have bled also, but the blood has always been someone else's. And it is not at all cleansing. My ex and sis tried to tell me that anything that bleeds for 7 days that does not die should not be trusted. I tell them if that were the case, he would not be here. The way he talks, I am almost convinced that boys, men like him, are actually saddened by their physical disposition. I learned men can be attracted to what they do not like or even love. He pushes back against a body that he only has come within a few inches of knowing, insisting that my body is dirty, impure, disloyal, duplicitous. But I notice it has been 3 days since he washed himself. His tank top has turned into a dingy beige, and the socks around his ankle are gray and stained, yet he strolls down the block in our neighborhood, nose high, face darkened by the sun and neglect, without an unkind word to be heard, and I love him anyway, because I know the body is not something to shame, and I know what he chooses to disparage is what he also chooses to not heal. So that was new. Now that I got the nerves out of that, y'all still good?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so yeah, like I said, I write about real shit, and I mean, like, I think it's just so hurt. I almost feel a little embarrassed that I've lived most of my life not knowing the narratives of Black women or Black people, period. And it wasn't until like my late 20s, I'm like, Toni Morrison? Who's Toni Morrison? Wait, Alice Walker wrote Color Purple, the movie that I grew up on, you know what I'm saying, that my mom and I had watched. It's just amazing. And so Toni Morrison is someone that definitely inspired me to use my voice in a way and to add to that collective. So, let me find something to lay out. And I'll start off with a short poem. This is called My Favorite Things, something to lighten up before we go deep. My favorite things. Maplewood fences soaked with autumn rain. Salmon-colored front porch steps. Vines lacing the fences with their charm. Mingled blues and purples in my sky. The kiss between boot and pavement. hair caught in a hoop, earring dangling, 3C4A hair. And that's a shirt poem. So, I gotta express some joy. This is called Not Too Far Away, and this is a poem I wrote. Just a little bit of retrospective observation as being a black girl who couldn't jump double dutch to save her life. Like, all my cousins and all the black girls gathered and was like, hey, we're gonna teach you how to do double dutch, and at least if you can't do double dutch, can you turn? And then when I started turning, like, oh no, you double-handed. Like they instantly know once you start dun, they're like, oh no, we can't do that shit. So, yes. This is called Not Too Far Away. Black girls, with hips well beyond their years, backsides giving nature a learning curve, walking bow-legged, even if they're not. Pigeon-toed oddities, knock-kneed awkwards with now off-white, K-Swiss, thick soles with thick soles, bleach white ankle socks, gold anklets sparkling in the summer sun. Soft slaps of white cord hit the pavement. I don't sit too close to the spectacle. Small rocks do still hurt. We dance, loosen our backs, entrancing and enchanting each other with that ancient rhythm, and few of us pop start stiff bodies, getting inspiration to chuckle and cry out, you can't dance. And if that's the only thing I need to be insecure about, I'm grateful, I'm happy, I'll learn one day. We relish in our own loudness while we can, our own bravado. We create culture in the bubble that fails to be bulletproof. Docile, happy dandelion swaying in Midwest winds, masking roots and lie, compulsive to keep gardens tame. We want to be deemed manageable, not easy, and never difficult. Because we know loneliness is a thing we share, even at a young age. Black girls like me who stare in mirrors, big-eyed, brown nose, crooked mouth, and full lips, top lip impersonate whiteness, and sometimes I wonder if it's the ghosts of deadbeat forefathers trying to possess my joy too. I see a kind of light-skinned, long-haired girl with buck teeth, and she still be pretty enough for grown men to want her and make it apparently so, but it's she who must be careful no matter how many traps they set along her path. Nobody feels sorry for the black girl. She should have known better. She pretty, so she would know a pretty thing can go unwanted. I eye her everything, come when she beckons me, and forget that I shouldn't be staring this long. I wonder if I'm like the men she brushes off nervously. If my eyes are taking a piece of her without permission as well, I shy away. I want to say, I want nothing from you, nothing you don't give freely, and with desire. She plays with us for a minute, and I see the joy return to her eyes like wayward daughters to their goddess inside, and she's happy to be out of breath, happy to feel her youth still. It's still there. She stops, and she catches herself, remembering that childhood was only yesterday, was only for a second, was only for a turn. I remember to not be concerned about where she goes when she leaves us. I remember to relish in my loudness as long as I can before it becomes an ugly thing, an unwanted thing. It's okay to be black, but you best not say a word. You can't be more than black. Not girl, not woman, not queer, not fearless of what God? Better not. Unlike your childhood, loneliness ain't too far away. So that was Not Too Far Away. And I'm gonna just do one more for you guys. Y'all still there?
Yeah.
Still here without you? Okay, cool. Cool. And this one is called Far from Immigrant, Adjacent to Citizen, Close to Slave. This poem was actually inspired by Afro-Latina woman entertainer, Amara La Negra, if anybody knows her. I followed her before she got involved in hip hop. I was like, girl, you know. But I love that she did give visibility to Latinx, or excuse me if I'm not saying it right, I apologize. But I love that she gave that visibility. And it definitely put my own experience as a Black American woman into perspective about what it means when they say, oh, black girls can speak Spanish. I'm like, these private black people can speak lots of languages. So here it goes. Nobody cares that I speak English. Nobody cares that this is the only language I know and that I've ever been taught. Despite the darkness of my skin, the round of my nose, fullness of my lips, and kink of my hair, nobody cares that I speak English. Or that my English was the hand-me-down of poor whites, or the irony of white folk now complimenting black folk on their use of proper English when they once made it a death sentence. Nobody asks, what country are you from? Were you born here? Are you legal, citizen? Because what is the question of citizenship compared to one's humanity to be reduced to a fraction 3/5? Nobody questions my last name, ridicules it, or stares at it, puzzled and completely distraught from having to pronounce it. They don't question my last name because my last name don't mean shit when I don't belong to nobody. White folk don't own a thing they can't call their own, and if they can't call it their own, they despise it. So my first name gets passed over and thrown in the trash bin with all the other Negro names, because Bert ain't enough and Rayshonda is too much. My blackness survived. I remained colored and named in that fashion. They look over my unnative language like the pages that remind the present of the past, the blacks of the West Africans, the pipeline of the slave ships, the microaggressions of the lynchings, the otherness that intends to fade out the blackness, fade out our history, and turn slavery into dreams, chattel into agricultural workers, into forgotten, into it never happened, into a language that overwrites and overtalks and stands over me in 26 letters that will never formulate to sound out the name of home, only the name of those who took me from myself, them, us. I'm reminded that despite my black lips and my tongue, my words and thoughts will always come out colonial, English, American, white, first. And that by life I have been separated and so by death, like white relatives who refuse to acknowledge the dark side of their family history, and I don't mean slavery, simply by the words they choose in a language I do not, and still nobody cares. And thank y'all, I appreciate it. I mean, I'm good. I mean, it's not long more, but
No pressure.
I'll do one more. So this one is another real last poem. And just to respect everybody's own personal stories, who I do not know, right? It's about abortion and the impact of that at a young age, a blossoming age. And I want to say that everybody affects everybody. You know what I'm saying? Everybody affects everybody. And we need to be mindful of that, of each other, and the way that we all grieve. It may not be apparent, but we all grieve in our own way. So, but this one is called Blue to Amber. No one knows the right thing to say to a girl who had an abortion. So they say, don't come back here. Remember you was with me, don't tell your daddy. You're gonna die. You owe me $300. I honestly want to black out the sky because I don't think they appreciate the only son their God begat. But the sun is all I have to comfort me, turning my blue into amber, reminding death that life goes on, so mourn, but go on. I walk in alone with $330 in cash. $30 was all my mother could spare. I am not sure where my boyfriend got the rest, but I am sure that neither came with me. Neither thought that we don't make life alone, that someone is always there in the process with us, to be the life, or the one who gives life itself. Life is priceless, but death is $330. Depends on where you go and how far along. I came in with more than myself. I leave with just myself. with a bench to hold me, and 3 hours of solitude. A mother who finally pulls up in a blue Chevy with a man who is not her husband in the front seat smiling. A daughter who sits in the back without much to say. I cannot be angry. I can only be silenced. Because I no longer know what to say as a girl who just had an abortion. Before, I told them, I'll never come back. Don't worry, I won't tell. Silence. I will pay you back as soon as I give you money. And that's at home. Well, I appreciate you guys for diving in with me in these poems. I definitely appreciate you guys and your presence. And also, I do facilitate a writing workshop just to help people find their voices, and we just journey through that together. It's monthly. It's Black LGBTQAI and Black allies, so Black people basically. Feel free to come through. You can follow me on no_nan on Instagram. I'm usually posting updates and things like that, so always just check out my stories, because I don't post on the timeline. I do stories like everybody else. But if you are looking to explore and to add to the creative community and you are a Black creative, then please join me and help that be possible. Thank you. Oh, thank you.
We can do one more round of applause for Nat. Thank you. So we have our next person up on the list. Come on. Welcome up to the mic. The list is still on the table. If anyone else is feeling inspired, feel free to sign up.
I gotta tell you, I didn't know you were a preacher, so I got it right after you, and that was amazing.
Thank you.
It's my first time, reading words. I'm from Jamaica, born and raised, and I moved to the Bay about 1.5 years ago, and I work for a tech giant. And so, you look at me, I got dreads, hella dark, and my experience in San Francisco hasn't been really good. A lot of rage, still have a bit of rage from 2018 was a real bad year. But I got a few words to kind of let it out. Pretty much talking about it all. It's called Visiting. I wish I was only visiting. A conversation starts, I dread starting to a news. I don't care you like the food. Uber thinks I'm visiting. We don't share no struggle, he's not listening. I'm angry, I find nothing but doubt, looking in the mirror daily. I see why I let these people win. I know, I wear red, it dangles and gives dread. Uber doesn't know he's sin, for I'm nothing else but my skin. Know the food too, the violence on the wind. They don't know about the violence, only about my kin. Hush now, brother, you come so far. No, father, my souls are clean. It beats faster as I go through North Beach. You should see. She said I made her uncomfortable. Well, vagueness makes me uncomfortable, so I stay free. What makes me out of bad man? When I go back, they try to kill me. Culture says don't cry, man, you're in mine. Okay, my eyes are dry. That's it.
It goes, watermelon, watermelon, watermelon rhymes. How they try to take out our seeds to keep us behind. And this is a watermelon, watermelon, watermelon rhyme. Like they work hard to cut us open just to see what's inside. And they just hate to see us happy. Our happiness just kills them. I mean, it kills them so much that they have to try to kill us, and that hate is only a contradiction of emotions because they can only hate us as much as they hate themselves. And of course, money can't buy love unless that money was being held in grandma's hands. Because when that money was being held in grandma's hands, there was no difference between her brown skin and the earth-richest soil. And she would use that money that she held in her hands to buy me a watermelon before I knew what the word nigga really meant. Life lessons came by way of cold floors or grocery store aisles. They'll always try and put you down. But it doesn't matter how low they put you, you'll always be picked up. And remember, choosing one that seems perfect, precise weight and color, and the thumb echoing just like it should doesn't mean you can't be disappointed. On days you select to the best of your ability, go home and still come up short. You either eat it or let it go, but always go back and pick again. And she would use this watermelon that she held in her hands, offering salvation before I even knew what the word damnation really meant. We would congregate on hot red picnic tables like church pews for Sunday service, breaking green rinds as if it were bread, stains on our shirts written off as holy water, and I knew that Jesus must have looked just like grandma, living loved by the blood of our ancestors. Blessings come in all shapes and sizes, she said. And never let the fear of not having enough stop you from giving. Always find ways to feed the ones around you, and you'll see that one seed planted to bear one fruit goes a long way. And she would use my face, now held gracefully in her hand, as a reflection of love before I even knew what internalized hate really meant. Preparing a mirror for me, travel size, that I could take in my pocket everywhere I go. She knew that if they took anything as healthy and plentiful as watermelon and turned it into something of a joke, she knew if they took anything as divine and powerful as our people and tried to turn it against the world and attempt to strip it or us from true worth, that this life would never be easy for this watermelon-eating, black, boyish thing. She knew that watermelon is what kept our people hydrated during scorching summers in the field. She knew that one watermelon could feed and fill an entire community. She knew that this fruit was one of the ways that freed blacks were able to gain money for independence. And she knew that they would do anything to take that from us. So she taught me how to love watermelon. They'll hate to see you happy. Seeing you happy will surely kill them. It'll kill them so much that they will try and kill you, and that hate is such a contradiction of emotion because they can only hate you as much as they hate themselves, so you must remember how to love. And it goes, watermelon, watermelon, watermelon rhymes. You've been trying to cut us open, but you'll never take what's inside. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing. Destiny, the mic is yours.
So there's some super illusion. My theories on why strangers stand so close to me when there's hella motherfucking space.
That's the title?
It's okay. I must be the most interesting damn thing they've ever seen. I must smell like a combination of test strip fragrance. I must be what shelter looks like, what butterflies look like when they stand still. I must be a spectacle. A blood-riddled body not yet found, the kettle and the tea. I must be the black girl dangling from copper wires in her guns. Why else would they stand close enough to Why else would they stand close enough to digest me? Maybe I am a fiction of fairy tales. They must not know how to act around dreams and nightmares. Maybe I'm their worst nightmare, all big and black and drenched in one too many encounters. They must be facing their fears standing next to me. Maybe they want to see my gate up close. Ask if it spreads rainbow flags underneath eyelids. Want to touch my black and see its stains. That must be it. What other reason could they have for being here? Being close enough that I can't even claim this space anymore. And I want something that is just mine, to hold while it burns in my hands, melt my skin if I must, if I can call this safe, call for safety in these few feet, call for safety in this few feet before they try and drag me to. Or what can I call mine if not this body? I bet they want to take this body too.
Call it a myth if it means I can change my story, control this rage, and dampen this anger, watch them dance this body into something they can stand to be next to. I must be a fucking doll to them. I bet they would dress me in all whites, brush the earth out of me. I must be something to be devoured. I must be something they want. I must not be here. I must not be me. I must be theirs. I wonder what they named me before I showed them all the destruction this black queer body be.
Thank you so much for sharing. So next on the mic is another part of our MoAD family. I'm excited to have Nicole up here on the mic. I wasn't planning on reading, but that's inspired me, so here we go. I work in the front of house, and one of the more common questions we get is, where are your slave narratives? And I don't know, I understand why we're looking for it, but at the same time, I'm like, stop coming here looking for that. So this is a response to that. It's called slave narratives. Numbers 1 and 2. To be honored in gold from the beginning, there, to be recognized for grief, innocence, kindness, a love for despair. The dark ocean is you, bedecked in cowering churns, crimson waves, shells stitched to cotton, and the setting sun of my hair is your throne. The west grows darker, darker. Numbers 3 and 4. The waves grow darker, darker, though I wish they wouldn't, until we arrived to a new, more jewelry or shoes world, not home, a way to adorn myself in what is my life worth diamonds. To rock Gucci, now that I'm called slave. Prada, Dolce & Gabbana, the movable, and the to be stylish, fashionable, immovable, cool, to be fresh, to be. Number 5. To be able to contemplate selling dope to make ends meet, deeply, and to smoking herb to pass the time, and concentrate my sewing, cultivating, scattering mind on reading. There is the faintest trace of Coco Chanel, and riding in the transatlantic. Where are, to visit art, we going to feel sunlight on our skin? And then we had an earlier poem inspired by Africa. I recently went to Morocco, and a popular spice there is called Ras Al Hanout. That's the title of this next one. The men are drinking coffee on the roofs of Payless, Popeyes, and the $1.99 store, where their daughters buy last-minute jeans with the money they've made hustling, or from the money they've earned at the old Korean joint, taking orders for the hood's sweetest and gristliest beef. Under a tin-thatched roof, the men are drinking coffee, over by the spice tray, cumin for concealer, turmeric for whitener, rouge for henna, persimmon is no longer in season. The men are drinking coffee out of small cups, shaped like cobras, their pinky fingers dangling in the air. They are watching the bus following the broken yellow line pull up to my block where there is a beauty salon that will stain my hair butter yellow. It will send me to the spice trade in tears to trade my last bit of Ras El Hanout for whatever promises to make me perfect and beautiful. I step into the open-air plaza where men are indeed drinking coffee and chicken pieces drenched in white, battered, dangle over a deep fryer, crackling, sizzling. Thank you. Charity.
Cool. I was not planning on doing this, but I think your poems really inspired me. So I'm reading this book. It's called Emergent Strategy. I really recommend it if you haven't read it. And I like reading from women of color, so I'm just going to read some of their poems that are in here. It's by Adrienne Marie Brown, and the first one is A Complex Movement, and then there's another one by Maya Angelou. And I wrote something I wasn't prepared to share, but I'm going to try. Let me know. Also, I'm from the South, so I really like noises and yeses and sounds, whatever. So if you're feeling inspired, just be you. Okay, so the first one is A Complex Movement. Over and over again, it becomes known the peace we seek is seeking us. The joy of full bud, awaiting our attention, justice in our hands, longing to be practiced. The whole world, learning from within this thrilling moat in the universe, laboratory, labyrinth, internalized demands. You are the one you are waiting for. Externalize love. Bind us together into a greater self, a complex movement, a generative abundance, an embodied evolution. Learn to be here. Critique is a seductress. Her door is always open, so what if you get some? We're going further, past reform to wonder. This requires comprehension that cannot fit in words, out beyond our children, beyond the end of time. There is a ceaseless cycle, a fractal, sublime, and we come to create it, to soil our hands and faces. Loving, loving, loving ourselves and all of our places. I'm going to read this one that I wrote. It's from, I was working in DC before I moved here at a civil rights firm that did not really do civil rights work. So I'm at a much better place now, thank God. Speaking of God, I think because I grew up in the South and I grew up in a Christian Baptist church, luckily I found one here that is not homophobic and racist and problematic, which is good. I'm going to church home, we can talk after. But I wrote this on a particularly tough day. You mentioned that work has been tough. I got you, I understand. This place was tough and it drained me a lot as a Black woman. And as a Black queer woman, I just felt like my existence wasn't supposed to be there, it didn't sit well at that place. So I met a friend outside. And that moment changed my life. It lasted for about 2 minutes, so this poem is about that. It's called Richard. Just the two of us, we can make it if we try. Just the two of us. I saw wisdom today. Boundless, deep, wide, heavy, personally political, loving, open. I listened. We laughed. I felt power, community. He looked houseless to me. I asked if I could shake his hand before I left. He slowly took his thick black glove off. We were quiet. We listened. He reached out his hand. My brown skin touched his brown skin. Richard, he said. Charity, I said. He said, wow. Our eyes were locked in. He saw my soul there, all the pieces. I said, wow, that's my uncle's name. I've decided after that moment to break from work, to see people for who they are, to see them as homes. No turning back. No turning back. And then this one is by my favorite person ever who passed away a few years ago, Maya Angelou. It's from her writing called On the Pulse of Morning. It's pretty good. Each new hour holds new chances for new beginnings. Do not be wedded forever to fear, yoked eternally to brutishness. The horizon leans forward, offering you space to place new steps of change.
Thank you so much. I'm glad you decided to come follow me. So I'm going to close out with one new piece. Once again, thank you to everyone for being here this evening. This happens every month, every third Thursday generally. We've just pushed it up to the second Thursday this month. Thank you again to Nan for holding it down. So this is called Pantone. The color of front lines and back doors. The color of their table and no seats. The color of first. The color of misnamed. The color of speak only when spoken to. The color of bootstraps. The color of glass ceilings. The color of blankets birthing statements. The color of token. The color of outspoken. The color of unannounced fingers meeting braids. The color of only. The color of clutched purses and quickening paces. The color of the other side of the tracks. The color of missing. The color of pins dropped on conference room floors. The color of the unweighted table. The color of 63 cents. The color of the service elevator. The color of too good to marry but good enough to fuck. The color of headstrong. The color of switching tongues. The color of talking so well. The color of my word against yours. The color of being magic enough for everyone. Thank you. Thank you everyone for your presence here. And my name is Nia, and hope to see all of you again.